Nobody is looking at me thinking the thoughts I think about myself.
Right.
That is very accurate.
Mm-hmm.
People are typically worried about themselves.
Right.
And not looking at anyone else.
Right.
Everyone else feels bad in the bathing suit, so they're not looking at somebody else in the bathing suit.
Yes, that's absolutely true. And so we get that mindset. It's a lot of that is the self-talk. It's the what are we talking to ourselves about? And that's where we start self-sabotaging our own thoughts.
Up for failure.
So would it be fair to say we lead with our pain?
Ooh, yes.
I mean, we lead with that instead of leading with who we are aside from that wound. Does that make sense? Or is that just totally off? Do I need to check myself in this afternoon?
No, it makes sense. It makes sense. I think we all set ourselves up for those things. And I think it's because we are fearful.
Yeah.
Fearful of rejection or fearful of a negative perception, fearful of not meeting the mark. It's a fear-based reaction, I think.
But so how do we have to go after the root of that?
Well, one thing I was thinking about was when Jesus approached the man and said, "Do you want to be healed?" Because if we're not ready to take steps toward healing, we're probably not going to be healed, at least right away.
Yeah.
It's when we're ready to be healed that we can start the healing process. And Jesus can heal us in a skinny second. I mean, just a thought, just a touch. But he asked him, and he asks me, do you want to be healed from your past rejections? And yes, I want to. And if I say, yes, I want to be healed, then I need to start taking some personal responsibility in doing what I can do in the process. Jesus will heal me, but I have to take some responsibility in what I do to make it the best possible way.
Okay, so why do you think Jesus asked that question? And here's where I'm going with this. What sane person would say no? Okay, but why do we say no? Why do we say no to being healed?
Because our pain is a comfortable place for us to live.
Yes.
We're comfortable with it. We know what it is.
Yes.
It's the enemy we know, not the enemy we don't.
Yeah.
Well, and I think we don't want to do what it takes to follow through.
Yeah.
Truth.
Right.
Yep.
Because I think everybody listening to this podcast would say, of course I want to be healed. But there is so much more to actually healing and saying you want to be healed. It is hard work because you have to let God get into the crevices, the nooks and crannies, if you will, and
shine
get down
the light
into the root of that and to say, hey, maybe you gave this person too much power. Maybe you gave this person too much say over your life. And why is it that they now have become your God? Because you're listening to their definition of who you are.
Ooh, okay. Now,
so,
but God calls us to get out of the boat and walk across the water to him.
Yes.
And you're saying sometimes it requires forgiveness.
Yes.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Sometimes it requires letting go of pride.
Yes.
That's why I haven't wanted to be healed sometimes, because I don't want to forgive the person that hurt me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or I want to be my own person, or I want to be in control of the healing or what happens after the healing. But you're helping me unearth this, and I really appreciate it, that part of why we don't want to be healed is because sometimes it requires some real sacrifice on our part.
Yep.
Well, you remember what the guy said when Jesus said, do you want to be healed? Remember? He said, I've come here and everybody gets into the water before me, making excuses. And I think that's so like our human nature, is that we make so many excuses. But if I forgive, but if I move on, but if I put myself out there again, I'll be rejected again. And I'm using this as a protective measure so that I don't get hurt again. We have a million different excuses. And that's why I think it's so important that we look at why we say no to the healing. It's because sometimes healing is hard work, heart work, if you will.
Yeah.
And allowing God to get down into the depths of the roots of what really is going on, because it very rarely is what is at face value.
Yeah.
I think Chip Ingram, he says, pain and anger is like an iceberg. The anger is what you see above the surface, but there's so much below that you don't even see.
Yep.
And those are the things that I really believe that Christ goes after when he looks at issues like this and says, hey, do you want to be well? Do you really? Because if you do, I'm going to ask you to go to a painful place.
Yeah.
And I'm going to shine light on those painful places. And that's what I want to heal. And y'all, I mean, I don't know about you, but if we allow him to do that, we'll be different women than we are today.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to be well? No excuses. And you don't have to say yes because you think that's what we want you to say, because this is just between you and God.
Mm-hmm.
And if you really want to be well, we know the healer. And he's available right now. And maybe you're listening to this podcast and you're like, I don't know exactly what to do with all this. Hey, we'd love to pray for you. We'd love to help walk you through. We'd love to put you in touch with some resources. Maybe it even means that you need to go and get some professional help, some Christian counseling to kind of deal with the roots of whatever it is that's bothering you today. We want to be a part of that process, and we're here to help. You can always email us at girltalk@thelightfm.org. We'd love to hear from you. Know that we love you. We want to see you well, healthy, whole, and serving God with all your heart. And that is our goal here. So if we can help in any way, once again, our email address, girltalk@thelightfm.org.